Hi, Brian Lloyd here with a ranking of the 10 best games in the Legend of Zelda franchise. All told, there's been 27 games that have borne the name of The Legend of Zelda, and while some are among the best video games ever made, some, such as the Philips Eye games, are considered the very worst video games ever made.
What happened?
Nothing, Link. We were just about to have a feast.
Great!
For this video, however, we're sticking to the best. We begin with The Legend of Zelda 2, The Adventures of Link. Although it's considered as the black sheep of the family, The Adventures of Link spoke to the franchise's ability to try new things without fear of failure. The previous game, the very first in the series, was built with a top-down perspective. In the second game, it went for a side-scrolling perspective with middling results. It may not have been a hit with fans, but as a noble failure, The Adventures of Link is worth including in its history and among its best by virtue of its willingness to try something new. In at number 9 is Skyward Sword. Again, what marks out so much of The Legend of Zelda is its full embrace of new technology. The Legend of Zelda was the very first game to use a battery-powered saving system. For Skyward Sword, it made extensive use of the Wii Motion Plus system. The Wiimote became your sword and saw you slashing and striking your way across Hyrule with specific overworlds and a gorgeous orchestral score to boot. At number 8 is A Link Between Worlds on the Nintendo 3DS. What's fascinating about this game is that it's one of the few games, maybe the only game in fact, that seamlessly blends together 2D side-scrolling and 3D top-down in a single game. And not only makes it work, but makes it a central mechanic of the game. On top of that, embraces its lineage with A Link to the Past in a way that the franchise hadn't necessarily done before, while still being boldly experimental. For number 7, we're going back to The Wind Waker. For this game, the designers adopted a completely new art style, deliberately eschewing realism for animated, cel-shaded designs and graphics. It was a gamble, sadly, that didn't pay off in commercial success. Although the game received glowing reviews at the time and is regarded fondly by players, it sold so poorly that it made Nintendo go in the opposite direction for its next game, Twilight Princess. We're going right back to the start for number 6, The Legend of Zelda on the NES. As an example of utilising the limitations of its console, The Legend of Zelda is a bible for programmers. So much is packed into a tiny amount of data, and the influence of it is still felt to this day. It was the very first console to utilise saved games through a battery in the golden cartridge. It laid the groundwork for non-linear gameplay that all RPGs take for as granted. It is no less than the very genesis of console RPGs as we know them today. Number 5 is Twilight Princess for the GameCube and the Wii. A direct response to the colourful, child-friendly imagery in The Wind Waker, Twilight Princess was the first game in the entire franchise to come with a teen rating, and it's not hard to see why. It was darker, more violent, and thrilling than anything in the series until that point, and embraced the action-led sequences of the game in a way that hadn't been done since the Ocarina of Time. The enemies were smarter, the quests were longer, and the fairy tale setting grew long with shadows and darkness in a way that it hadn't done before. Although it bears close DNA with Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask feels, in a lot of ways, like the difficult second album of the Legend of Zelda franchise. It was experimental, sure, but adhered to what you knew. You could see it mature and develop, and the 3-day cycle was a brilliant piece of gameplay mechanics. It's also dreamlike in its setting, and the sense of unease, not threat, unease, throughout the game make it disturbing. You look up, and staring down at you is a giant face with bared teeth and wild eyes, waiting to fall. In at number 3 is A Link to the Past for the SNES. If The Legend of Zelda on the NES was the Old Testament of RPGs, A Link to the Past was undoubtedly the New Testament. The germs of ideas that took root in the NES came into blossom in the SNES, and the top-down perspective worked wonders for the game. The easy-to-grasp combat system gave it an edge of excitement. The plot as well felt much more realised than previous RPGs at that point, and even now it is still a compelling piece of storytelling with a cracking first act. It may have taken a long time, and other RPGs may have came up behind and stole a march on it, but Breath of the Wild, our number 2 choice, is only the first in the franchise to become truly open world, and what a world it is. Whereas in the likes of other games where imagination filled in the blanks of a wide open world, here in Breath of the Wild it was fully realised. If you saw a tall mountain, You could walk to it and climb it. If you see a forest filled with trees, you can leap off your horse and explore it. The freedom that players are given in Breath of the Wild is nothing short of extraordinary. Our number one choice, the Ocarina of Time. Why does the Ocarina of Time make the top of our list when the graphics are now dated and the limitations of the game are more apparent than ever before? Because greatness isn't about the best graphics, or the highest possible frame rate, or the longest game. Greatness is in how long it stays with you. Everyone remembers the first time they played the Ocarina of Time. It might have been a birthday, it might have been a Christmas morning, it might have been at a friend's house. But you never forget the first time you stepped out onto Hyrule Field, or mounted Epona and jumped the walls of Lon Lon Ranch to freedom. Those are pivotal moments, ones that stay with you long after you've defeated Ganondorf. The sense of scale and wonder might not return when you come back to the game, but the memory is there, and that's enough for us to place it at the top of our list. What's your favourite Legend of Zelda game? Let us know in the comments and keep an eye out for more gaming content here on entertainment.ie in the near future.